Hey everybody, I'm Nick DiMatteo and welcome to week 184 and video episode number 10 of 4T, the Thursday throwback track. Every week I take a release from my collection, I discuss it, I give you my take on it, I throw in some history and some other things, philosophy, who knows, and I talk about how it's influenced my music. This week, it's the Teen Angst edition. This is an album from my high school years. This is The Voice by the band Agent Orange. When you're in high school, in my opinion, there are two wildly divergent things that you're looking for. One is you're looking for a sense of belonging. You're trying to figure out which group is yours, which friend is yours, who loves what you love, who sees life the way you see life, who's into what you're into, has the same kind of working of the brain and things like that. Belonging, kinship. And the other thing you're looking for is your identity, which belonging can help with, but really the identity part is you trying to figure out how you're different, what makes you you, what separates you from the pack, what things do you like or dislike that don't jive with other people. I'm a very nostalgic person. There are times when I hear something or a smell or a sight, and it takes me back to a certain period in my life, and I can feel it viscerally, for certain periods. But I can honestly say that any schooling prior to college, I really don't have nostalgia for. I have no desire to revisit any of that. I mean, there were people I loved. There were things that happened that changed my life forever, and I'm grateful for all of that. But there is not one part of that time that I care to revisit emotionally. But, as always, the music. That's something that I will always revisit from any era of my life and prior to my life. It means too much to me to toss the baby out with the bathwater. And I bring that up because music is one way to accomplish both of those things in high school, both finding a sense of belonging and finding your individualistic identity. This band, Agent Orange, was one of the bands that helped me do that, and it's because I was introduced to Agent Orange by a very good friend of mine, one of my absolute best friends at the time. Let's call him Mike Smith. That was his real name, actually, Mike Smith. And he got me into a lot of things, but primarily our touchstones were humor and music. And I think if not for him, I wouldn't have been into things like U2, Violent Femmes, Husker Du. He exposed me to earlier David Bowie, earlier than Let's Dance and stuff like that. It's Bowie from the 70s, let's say. And so really hanging with Mike and getting into the music like that served both purposes for me. They gave me a sense of belonging. They helped me to know that I had someone who understood life the way I did, who kind of felt about things the way I did, had the same kind of sense of humor and perspective on things. But it also showed me how I was different from everyone else, what made me me. I was kind of an academic star in high school. I was valedictorian, and I was not I wouldn't say popular at all, really, but I was very well known for that. And I was well liked because I was also in the music and the theater. I was a performer, and I was generally, although painfully shy, very personable. Very, I treated everybody with the same level of respect, regardless of what clique they were in, what character from Breakfast Club they identified with. And yet, despite that kind of level of likability and all of that, I was rage-filled, confused, antisocial. There were very few people that I liked. I was sex-crazed, and I was trying so hard to both express a lot of that and to just very violently suppress a lot of it. And all at once trying to figure out who I was in life and all those things. It sucked. It really sucked. The way so much of high school and middle school does for people, and honestly, lots of parts of life. It's really the reason why I don't care to revisit that era. I am a much happier person and understand things, certainly not everything, but much better now at 3 times the age than I did then. But this will still always mean a ton to me. So why don't we talk about this? Agent Orange was one of the first surf punk bands. So you may know surf music, you may know the Ventures, you may Wipeout, you may know Dick Dale, you may know the early Beach Boys stuff. Surf music's been around for a long time, at least since the 50s, you know. You may know punk music, you may know the Sex Pistols, you may know even later punk like Green Day, whatever, you know, think about the comparison between the two and all the punk in between. Surf punk is an amalgam of the two, and you know me, I love mixes of music. That's one of the reasons why I love surf punk music in general, but Agent Orange in particular, because they were able to combine kind of that bright ebullience and bounciness of surf rock, the twangy guitars and all of that, with the darker, angstier, harder-edged punk. And what they expressed, you know, verbally, lyrically, combine those two things, that kind of brightness, the sensitivity, with the angst and the anger and the darkness and all of that. And so, you know, that's you can see why they might have influenced me so much, because that's a lot of what I do has both of those elements. Quick notes about the band itself. They were formed in 1979. Which you may have guessed by their name. Anyone who knows anything about history, political history, war, things like that, knows that the reference to Agent Orange comes from the Vietnam War, which hadn't ended very much earlier than before they formed, and was still ever present in pretty much everyone's lives, straight through the 80s, really into the early 90s. Movies, Born on the 4th of July, all of that, and all those great 80s movies about the Vietnam War, POW MIA stickers, things like that. So that's kind of where, their name originated, and even some of the feel, that kind of like, life has an underbelly to it, was influenced by that. And the thing about surf punk, other than it being one of my influences, is it's never died. It's still very vibrant. There's a band called Waves, WAVVES, that's been around for a few years now, but they're still putting albums out there. Young dudes, and doing some great surf punk. There are super many genres of punk, and I'm not going to get into that here. And I like several of them, maybe not, all of them are to my taste, but this is certainly probably one of the top three. And you can hear that in a lot of what I do. There's a song that I haven't officially released yet, but you can hear as an exclusive on recarea.bandcamp.com. You go to my Music Is Not a Genre Phase 2, and this, Phase 1, I'm sorry, and it's the song Don't Say You Don't. You can hear this influence hugely. But that's not the pick of the week. The song that I am choosing to show that has been influenced by this band is a pretty obvious choice, because it's one of the very few cover tunes that I've chosen to do in my last 30 songs, and it's a song by this band, Agent Orange. It's their probably most popular song, In Your Dreams Tonight, which has a very kind of a U2 almost backbeat, and it's pretty fast and energetic and big. And I took it and I brought it way down. I gave it a shoegaze, downbeat, kind of almost emo feel, dark, a little almost, I wouldn't say death metal-y, but that's that kind of a dirgy kind of feel. Partly because that's what I heard in the lyrics, and I just had this instinct that's how I wanted to interpret it. But also because I don't believe in recreating songs as covers. When a song is done well, and this original In Your Dreams Tonight was done incredibly well, there is no reason to do it like that. I believe in reinterpreting, reinventing, and that's what I've done with this song. As usual, the link to my cover of In Your Dreams Tonight is in the text below. I urge you to click on it, listen to it, share it, tell me what you think of it. Please, all of those things. I urge you to read the alternative text that I have underneath, to click the link on the info for this album and the band and explore that. And of course, comment. There's songs and bands that mean and meant a lot to you, that help get you through tough periods in your life. Do you like surf punk? Do you like surf music? Do you like punk music? Do you like none of that? Are there you know, what else resonates with you in any way, because as always, my my objective here, other than to bring music to life, is conversation and connection. So please comment below, share, whether you're on the YouTube link here or whether you're on my Facebook page. Visit nickdimatteo.com and listen to anything you want. Thanks again, as always, for watching, for reading, especially for listening, and I will see you next week.